All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our first set of notes together. We're finally going to dig into some math after the technology that we were working on last week. How the week is going to go in general is you're going to do lessons each day with a test at the end of the week on what you've learned throughout the week. So make sure you're staying caught up on your homework and watching the videos so you are getting the instruction that you need. Alrighty, so we're looking at our learning target. It says I can evaluate variable expressions and powers. So the first thing we need to do is be able to understand what those words mean. So we're going to talk about that right here. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that term evaluate. The root of that word is value. So when you evaluate something, you're going to be looking at getting a number answer, a value. So you want to get a number answer or a value. That's why it's called evaluate. And in order to do that, you're usually going to have to plug in a number for a variable. Well, what's that? What's a variable? A variable is like an X or a Y, or sometimes they'll use an A. It doesn't really matter what they use. It can be any letter, and then it's a letter that has different values. So you know that sometimes X equals 4, sometimes X equals 2, and because it varies, it's called a variable. An algebraic expression is going to be sort of a combination of number and variable terms. So there's not very much room. Let's say, for example, 3x minus 7. This is what we call a variable term because it has an x. This is what we call a constant term. And the constant means it's just a number. It's constantly 7. It never varies. All right, so let's take a look at these three terms. And these are easiest. We don't have to do that. These are easiest if we look at an example. If I have 5 to the third power, this 5 is called the base. And that is what's going to get repeated because this is all representing repeated multiplication. This is going to be the power or the exponent. Those mean the same thing, that little number that's up high, and that's telling you the number of times to repeat the base. Sorry, I'm getting rid of those notifications. So in this case, I would have the 5 as my base, and the power tells me to repeat it 3 times. So 5 times 5 times 5 would turn out to be 125 as an answer. So this is the product that represents. All right, so let's put all of this into action. Let's take a look, and here we're going to have examples in our notes sometimes, and sometimes we'll have guided practice. Guided practice means you should be able to do it yourself based on an example that I did. So what we're going to do right now is evaluate the expression when n is 3. So basically that means we're going to plug in 3 and then get our value, the solution. So this would become 13 times, and then I'm putting the 3 in for n. I would bust out my brain or my calculator and get 39. In B, I would put a 3 in for the n, and using my brain, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I'm evaluating the expression. I'm getting a value or number answer. This is asking me to put a 3 in for n. When I subtract 1, I get a value of 2. This is asking me to put a 3 in for n and then add 8. So I get a value of 11. Awesome. So here we have guided practice. It's going to be the same exact skills, and I want you to try it on your own. You can pause the video or you can work and then see if you're getting the same thing as me. In these, it's asking us to use y equals 2. So every place there's a y, I'm plugging in a 2. It also asks us to evaluate. So once I've plugged in the 2, I'm getting the number answer to that expression. Now, if you think I'm going too quickly, you can stop the video at any time. And like I said, with the guided practice especially, I want you to try it on your own and not just watch me do it. That's going to be the best way to learn. Here we have a word problem or like an application. It's talking about the total cost of seeing a movie can be represented by A plus R, where A equals the cost of admission, so getting in, and R is the cost of refreshments, so getting some food. Okay, so when I go to the movie, the cost is going to be my admission plus my refreshments. That's my expression to represent it. Now it says, suppose you pay $7.50 for admission and $7.25 for refreshments. How much is that total cost? Well, apparently that total cost is going to be, now plugging in for A, $7.50 for admission, and for the refreshments, $7.25. So that means my total cost, which is what they're asking for, is going to be the sum of those two. So $14.75 is the answer to the question, which is find the total cost. Alrighty, I'm going to skip this and come back to it. I want you to try this guided practice right here. If you're using Notability, you can just follow with me. If you're using printed paper, just skip the next example quick, because I want you to try this one on your own and then look and see how you're doing. Okay, so hopefully you paused and tried it on your own, or just kind of tried it and then you're looking now. The cost it told me was 2A because I paid for both admissions. So I plugged my A value 475 in, and then I just did the math to find my total cost. All right, let's scoot back to this earlier example. In this example, I have an expression and I'm supposed to write it out in words and as a product. So this one's kind of tricky. I always start with the base, and then I say it's that base to the blank power, and the number that I'm going to put in here is whatever I have as an exponent value. So in this particular problem, oops, made a little mistake. So if you're on Notability, you can always use an eraser, which is really handy for me because I like to make mistakes. So this is going to be the base, so that would be my 7, and then to the, because this is how you write it, so to the, and then my exponent is just a 1, so it's to the first power, and my product's really easy because I repeat the 7 one time, so that just equals 7. This one, I start with the base, so that's 5 to the, and then the value of my exponent, which is a 2. So I say to the second power, and that would be represented as 5 repeated twice, or a value of 25. My base in C, 1/2 to the, and then my exponent, third power. I'll have a half repeated 3 times. Oops, I said 3, so I wrote 3. Then when you multiply fractions, you multiply the top, so 1 times 1 times 1, and you multiply the bottoms, 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2. So here's my value for that one. This last one, my base is Z to the 5th power. And then this one I can't find on my calculator, but I'm repeating the Z 5 times, and then I leave that as my product. And I put the little line through the Z's just so they don't look like 2's. So now let's go to the one that looks just like that as guided practice. And again, you try it yourself and then look to see if you're doing it correctly. Sorry, I had to go find a calculator. How about 7? The reason I'm quiet is I want you to try them on your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And last one, base to the, whatever the exponent is, power, repeated 4 times, and no number value. So use the guided practice. Obviously, you can just copy mine, but that's not the idea. The idea is that you know how to do them, so in the future, you are good to go. Here's that word, evaluate. We're going to evaluate, finding a number answer. So we always want to be looking for a number answer when it's an evaluate problem. So think this through. X to the 4, when x is 2, that becomes 2 to the 4. We learned that that means 2 repeated 4 times. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. And I have to get all the way to that 16 because it says to evaluate. So n to the 3rd, when n is 1.5, so I'm going to put that in parentheses so it looks better. That means I need to do 1.5. Okay, so then I'm going to have 3.375, and I want to be really precise. I don't round off. I put what it gave me, and when I type it into my homework check, I make sure that I put what I got precisely as well. All right, so here you go for a guided practice. Go ahead and try these based on what we just learned, and then look and see if you are doing them correctly. Sorry about that. All right, and again, I'm going to type in all of what I got so I can be nice and accurate. All right. The nice thing about the video is you can slow down if you need to, and you can give yourself a little bit more time to go over stuff or watch it again if part of it confused you. This is guided practice also, so go ahead and try this one. Keeping in mind that to do fractions, I multiplied the tops together to get the top, and then the bottoms together to get the bottom. Okay. That is that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to practice. And so you're going to take a look at the homework, and this is kind of what's going to happen every day. So homework for 1.1, you're going to find on page 5 of your book, but the book is on Schoology, and it just has the pages that you need from 1.1. When you get to page 5, you're going to do the following problems. And this looks like a lot, but it's only 10 questions. And these are also listed on the weekly plan, on the daily plan. So you can always look at your daily plan and see. Now, here's what you want to do. You want to number them. So you want to number the problems. Then you're going to copy the problem. Don't have to copy a word problem, but copy the basic problem. And then be kind of neat and organized. And then box in the answer. Because here's what's going to happen. You are going to, when you're finished with the homework, you're going to do an assignment check. So you get your homework done and then you log into Schoology. You'll see that looks like a little puzzle piece. You're only going to have 10 minutes. So you won't have enough time to do the problems. You'll only have enough time to type in your answers. And so if the question asks you, for a certain problem, like number 24, and so for number 24, you want to be able to quickly find it, which is why you want to number the problems. You want to be able to also find the answer real quickly. And so that's why it would be nice to box in your answers. So when you go back looking for it and you only have 10 minutes to do the assignment check, you can find what you're looking for. Then there will be in Tuesday's folder, there will be homework help videos. And if you missed, let's say that you missed 56 and 23 when you went and did the assignment check. So then on Tuesday, you can open up the homework help video in the Tuesday folder and you'll be able to watch a video on how to do that problem and see if you can figure out what you did wrong. So that's kind of going to be the pattern of how we work. And then on Fridays, you're going to be taking a test on the material from the whole week. So you should be able to get your help from the next day's homework help videos and clear up whatever you might have troubles with. Otherwise, you can always re-watch part of a video, ask each other, or log in on a Wednesday WebEx to get help from me as well. All right, good luck on your first assignment, guys. Bye.